Hi, everyone. It's Rosie Condoy here. Thanks for joining the show. You guys all remember my co-host, Jason Benbridge. How are you doing,
Yep.
Jason?
I'm very cool. I'm very cool. Your background's changed a little bit. Are you on the road?
Oh, yes, I'm back in Ottawa.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome. Ottawa. Nice. Nice. When did you get there?
last night. Just here for a couple of days, but yeah, meeting up with some old friends and everything. But yeah, so I'm in an apartment a few blocks from Parliament. It's amazing. It's
Oh,
amazing.
nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Wave those flags. I see the flags behind you as well. It's awesome.
I brought my that's my flag, my staff with a New Zealand flag and the Canadian flag. So I brought them. They were in my Jeep. So I thought, yeah, you know.
Awesome. Awesome. Who are we going to be talking with today?
Well, today I thought it might be nice to bring on some people who are doing live streams in the freedom community. So we have Chris Dacey from Dacey Media in Canada here. He is the Energizer Bunny. He is at every single event. He's always gets the perfect shots. He always captures something happening, and he's got a lot of followers, and he's got a lot of um, the naughty kinds that don't like him. So he's got a lot of trolls.
I think we all have that.
And then we also have somebody from New Zealand who is I'm very excited that she's on the show. Her name is Zeb Jackson, and her show is Zeb Jackson Live. And I've been following her live streams for about a year now. And it's she was one of my favorite people to watch while the convoy and the Freedom Village and then everything that happened after. So yeah, very excited that I can call her my friend now. And yeah, so she'll be on the show, and they basically do the same thing, but one in Canada and one in New Zealand. And I kind of thought it might be nice to see how what inspired them to do what they're doing and what keeps them going, kind of thing. Zeb, of
Yeah,
course,
was it?
she lives in a van. Like she's totally pimped it out. The inside is like a little house. It's adorable. So she lives quite well, and she's got her pets too. And Daisy has a dog, so it's kind of cool. Like there's a lot of similarities, and I thought it might be nice to chat about that. So yeah,
I have a cat which probably won't last very much longer here, especially around my computer because it loves to jump around on the keyboard and it loves to jump around and turn the computer on and off. And yeah, I know what it feels like to have a pet. But yeah, Zeb Jackson, wow, that's really cool. I first started watching Zeb. I think it was the Bollard incident, and she was sitting on. I think she was sitting on a bus stop, like at the top of the bus stop. Was the first time I cottoned onto her. So it'd be nice to have a nice chat with her. I've been meaning to have a chat with her for quite a while, but we've never been able to cross paths yet. So that's awesome to hear. And yeah, yeah, Daisy, Chris Daisy, is it? Yeah, awesome, awesome,
Daisy.
great to see. So let's go take a look. Who are we going to meet the first?
Well, I thought it might be nice if you could get that video lined up. I got that story about. So when I was back home in British Columbia, that's where I was watching a lot of the lives from Ottawa, and I was watching a lot of the lives from New Zealand. And there was one day when I was watching one of Zeb Jackson's lives, and she was talking to somebody, and it was after the Freedom Village had kind of been dismantled, but there was this little mailbox that somebody had left behind, and inside was this magic 8 ball. And of course, I was watching, so I commented. Well, she said, if anybody has any questions, why don't you ask? And I was hoping to go to Ottawa. This was way before I actually got to I love it.
I love the
It
60s.
is the trippiest thing. But
I love the 60s.
I put in the comments. I asked her if I was going to Ottawa because I had no idea yet, and she shook the magic eight. Anyway, I'm not going to say what happens because you're going to watch the video. But yeah, if you want to go ahead with that anytime. Oh yeah, it's I got to do my little part here.
Okay, I'm just gonna bring it up. Just give me a second here, waiting for technology to catch up with the rest of the universe.
Absolutely, yeah. Take your time. I think it was at 7 minutes and 50.
56 seconds.
That was the you get a little
Yep.
bit of So yeah, I'm actually that was really, really cool. Doing that, because then it was during the summertime, and I went on one of her live streams too, and I kind of just asked her like, hey, do you remember shaking an 8-ball and saying somebody named Judy is going to Ottawa? And she's like, yes, I remember that. And I'm like, that was me, and I'm in Ottawa. And it was just like, it was the coolest moment. Oh, I just totally gave away, didn't I? After I said it.
You did, but that's okay. That's
I'm
okay.
just
7 minutes of the 8 seconds in. I'm just wondering if you can actually hear my audio over there. I've got it set up at 7 minutes and 40 seconds.
That was the oh, I've got you on the full screen there already.
Yep, I am on a full screen, but you've got a small, tiny screen there. There you go. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, there you go. There's the magnificent technology again. Let's go back to that full screen.
So I may as well take a couple of minutes and thank everybody who's watching. I appreciate you guys joining us on the show, Between Two Flags. Yeah, it's nice having Jason as a co-host. Yeah, he's really definitely you can't replace him. Irreplaceable. Worth your weight in gold.
Undeniable. So I'm just would like you to take a look, because your screen looks quite different to my screen. I'm sharing a full wide screen, but you don't seem to be receiving it.
Oh, hang on. That's this one here?
On my other account, yeah. On the State of the Nation account, there we are.
So that's it. Are we good to go?
Yeah, but are you receiving my wide screen?
I see it wide.
All right, let's check it on.
All right. So, is it playing? Yeah, here we go. Are we going to blame our Arjern for these technical difficulties too?
I'm not sure. I'm sharing the wide screen as normal.
Well, you know what? Should we just skip it then? Because I already gave it away completely. What happened?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and while you talk to Zeb, let me just figure out why this is not sharing properly. Because it's we're doing the same thing as normal, but for some reason it's just not popping up.
Okay, Zeb, I'll be bringing you on screen, and then Dacey, yeah, I see you backstage. I will bring you on in a couple of minutes after, and then we'll have our chat. All right, no, without further ado, there she is.
Kia ora whānau, how are we?
Zeb the legend. Hey, Zeb.
Oh, it's so good to finally be here to chat with you, Jason, and Rosie. Oh my goodness, it is so cool to finally face to face, well, via Zoom, you know, whatever. But it's so good to finally connect with you guys properly. How are we doing?
Doing well.
That's so good. And yes, I so remember this 8-ball story. Oh my goodness. I was actually at a 14-day protest that was organised by a team called Unite. And we were down in Wellington. Every day had a different theme to it. And I remember coming across that letterbox that we had at Parliament with us, and what was inside the letterbox at Parliament was actually these books that everybody was signing and leaving positive messages. So when I looked into that letterbox, I was really hoping to find that book, but I found that 8-ball instead, and hey, we just rolled with it and it worked so well.
I love how the next question was like, will there be an alien invasion? And your answer was like, yes, there will be. But yeah, we definitely called the trip to Ottawa. That was a lot of fun. That was so cool because yeah, I was trying everything I could to get out to Ottawa. It's over 4,000 kilometers from where I live.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. So the idea of not going was just like I couldn't handle the idea of not going, and so I was doing everything I could to make sure I could. And then, of course, I'm watching all the live streams, and then you did that, and I had no idea. And I think a couple of, like 2 weeks later or something, one of the truckers from Ottawa said he'd pay for my gas to get to Ottawa.
The universe aligns, the universe provides. You will always be exactly where you're meant to be at any given time. That's amazing how it happened, though.
Okay. Yeah, that was really cool. That was just one of the neatest things. And yeah, I have no idea when the alien invasion is going to occur, but I guess we had that before too.
Well, according to JFK, it's already happened. We're already
Yeah,
in
how
the
deep do we
early
want to go?
stages. Yeah. Now, Zeb, I first came across you when you were standing on top of, you were sitting on top
Yep,
of a bus stop in
yep, I was on
Wellington
top of
during
the
the
roof of the
Bollard
bus stop.
incident.
Yes. Now,
Yeah,
was that
during the
when
Bollard
the
incident.
bollards were being put in, or?
Well, that was when I first heard of you because I was watching a certain person's live stream and she also jumped up
Oh,
on there and you were
yeah.
there and then that's how you two got introduced to each other. And then I just basically just stopped watching the other person's live stream and started watching yours exclusively after that.
I know exactly the moment you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Now that was pretty intense. That was a pretty intense moment.
It
Maybe you could just
really
kind of
was.
describe what happened there for people who are not in the know.
Well, I'm not sure which particular bollard incident it was, but I'm
The
thinking it
very
might
first
have
one, the
been.
very first.
Was that just when they put the bollards down, I think? So they were preventing, they created basically a one-way system, similar to what you would get at sort of 2:45 in the morning at a nightclub. One
That's
one
it.
way, that's it, we're shutting it off kind of thing. And it
Yeah.
was a huge moment. It was a huge moment for the people in Parliament, because we all know what happened next as they encouraged us, or sorry, not next, but just before they put the bollards down is when they encouraged everybody to go and park at Sky Stadium. You guys can go and park there free. It'll be fine. We just want to get you guys off the street so we can get things moving around Wellington again. And a lot of people took up that offer. And then they put the bollards down and prevented anybody from re-entering. But we all know how that went down, don't we?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. But it was kind of really funky because they had the line formed in the front, and there were some people sort of in the background because a lot of the people in the front were just hanging out there, standing in the line, and then people started pushing and shoving a little bit and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it really that's my introduction to your broadcast, and since then I've been watching your broadcast, and from that moment, you've been kind of traveling around the country, haven't you?
Yes, yes. So I live in a big, huge, bright orange bus. It's 9 meters, so it's not a van. It's not quite a van. It's definitely a huge bus. And I've been living in it and traveling around New Zealand for the last 3.5 years.
That's so cool. That's so cool, Deb.
Pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
I love
And
it.
you and your pets too, right? You have 2 dogs and a cat?
No, I've got one dog. I've got Jessica, and I've got my cat Lollipop. Yeah, so they're in the bus with me. They're just as free as I am. Yeah, don't know where the cat is at the moment. Pretty sure she's gone off hunting around the neighborhood, and that's all good. She'll come back.
The very next day.
Where are you kept? Where are you kept out at the moment?
So at the moment, I'm on Waihi Beach, which is on the east side of New Zealand. For those who don't know, it's on the east side of the North Island, and the beach is just amazing, you guys. I literally just went for a swim before I clocked in and pressed enter on the studio. So I'm still sitting here in my wet clothes.
Yeah.
It's a
Why
hard
he's
life,
one
I'll
of
tell
those
you that much.
places. Why he's
Yeah,
one of those places where
it's beautiful.
usually during the holidays, in the summer holidays, even for us from Auckland, why he's a really go-to destination for the beach and to hang out. Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
So should we kind of bring I think it might be time to bring Dacey on.
Yes, let's bring Dacey on.
So Dacey I met this year in Ottawa. First time I saw him was in April when I first got here, the first weekend. Rolling Thunder. He had longer hair and a beard, and I remember seeing him going around because he was live, and that's all he does. He's live all day, every day. So without further ado, we got Dacey with Dacey Media. All right.
Awesome.
Hey guys, hello guys and gals. Careful for the misogyny.
Kia ora,
I thought it was
Dacey.
going to be a massage.
Yeah. Nice to meet you all, Rosie. I know.
And there's a party happening where you're at, so we'll have to pardon the noise.
Yeah, sorry about that. It is calming down. We have a Freedom Family Taco Tuesday night every week here at my place. So it was a pretty big one tonight. We had like 30 people show up. So it was pretty cool.
Oh, that is so cool. What time is it in Canada at the moment, if you don't mind me asking?
I believe it's nine something. I don't even know, to be honest.
But
Okay.
PM. Yeah.
Tuesday. Yeah, Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, and it's also Tuesday. Yeah.
True. Yeah.
So
Tacos are literally my favorite. I mean, I used to run a Taco Bell when I was young. Actually, I used to run 3 of them. But yeah, Taco Tuesday, I'm there. Oh my gosh, I wish I could get tacos in Vietnam. For sure, absolutely.
yeah, they were delicious. I was there. Then we hurried back to the apartment here. So yeah, thanks again, Dacey, for having us over. That was good.
Yeah. My pleasure, and happy to be on. It's so interesting to talk to someone from the complete other side of the world doing similar things. You know, I'm kind of stuck in my bubble here sometimes with everything I'm doing. I don't see a ton, and I don't get to talk to enough people really like this. So this is something I'm happy to do. It's exciting.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. You get so caught up in your own stuff, your own platform, and doing what you're doing on there that you sort of miss out on a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that for sure. That's one of the main reasons I got into doing lives. As I was taking a lot of video, but you know, between all the events I was doing, there's always something going on here in Ottawa. Still is. So I just started doing live, so I didn't have to edit. Honestly,
yes,
I didn't have the time or energy. So, and it was a risk. Like I know it's high risk, high reward, right? So like you only get one shot.
But there's definitely an element of laziness from our side that sort of goes into it, where it's like, oh, we're just doing lives, and then we don't have to edit and upload and all that bullshit that comes after.
Yeah, I find that, and I find that, I mean, at least for me and my fan base kind of grew organically. It was quite genuine. I mean, because it's just me. Well, me and whatever's going on. But I mean, I was really out there the whole time, for good, for better or for worse. So people have gotten to know a lot about me, let's say. Yeah.
And there's also an element of, you know, you can't argue with a live stream, right? You get the good, the bad, the ugly, the everything. You get all the bloopers. You know, you can't hide the truth in a live stream, and that's, I feel, a big part of it as well.
Yeah, I actually quite enjoy that, and I mean, I like the energy of it. I get into some pretty crazy situations, and some wild things happen down here in Ottawa. But I mean, it's always I love it. I feel like I'm blessed to be just a small part of it and to be able to get to do this. You know, even on the hard days, you know, I think when it's done, I've been a part of so many incredible things. So it's well worth it. Well worth it to me. Yeah,
agreed.
And now you've both been a part of the Rosie Conway show. Yay!
Yeah, exactly. Check.
Yeah.
Now, Chris. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Who?
Yeah, I wanted to ask. I'm really curious to find out how you guys started. Like, what inspired you guys? Like, you say you've been for a few years now, both of you, or like, is it something?
Dacey, you want to take this one first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, I said, do you want to take this one first?
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah. For me, as far as the live streaming and the talking and the social media stuff, that's Convoy and after for me. I was into, I mean, I took a lot of photographs before. I had a DSLR and I took pictures mainly of like fighter jets, military aircraft and stuff like that. So I used to go to, you know, bases every year and go to air shows and stuff. And I had some friends that were flying fighter jets or one that flew the snowbirds. So I got some cool access, and that really got my passion going for, you know, photography and that kind of thing. And once lockdowns were in full swing here, there was like a year where I was completely isolated in downtown Ottawa. And I just would walk around downtown with my DSLR when there was nothing to do, just to get out of the house and keep my sanity. And when the convoy came in, like the Thursday, I guess, I was out right around that day, my DSLR died on me. And then the convoy rolled all around. So I had 2 cell phones. I broke one on the first day, and I had this one cell phone left that had just a forward-facing camera. So I started just taking videos and trying to do interviews a little bit and doing what I could with that. And then I got a second phone and kept filming and stuff, and I just kind of rolled from there. I never stopped. So I didn't plan to do any of this. I just started. And when, you know, there's a lot of people filming during the convoy, but once it left, it was a ghost town here. It was like me and the police and the locals. And I was sandwiched between two sets of hard police lines. So you'd go out and there's roaming bands of police everywhere and no one around filming any of it. So I just filmed everywhere, just kept doing it. So that's kind of how I got going. Yeah.
I know I've got a new name for the show now. It's called Between Two Police Lines.
Yeah. I love the name of the show. I almost fell off my chair laughing when I heard the name of the show. It's fantastic. Between
It is. It's a good
yeah,
name.
yeah.
Um,
For those who get it.
so for me personally, how it all started for me, I had zero experience with filming, with photography, with anything really. I had just been, sort of mandated out of the nursing degree that I was completing. So I didn't have a lot of aim. I didn't know what I was doing. I heard about this convoy last minute and I turned up, and I live quite an isolated sort of lifestyle, a little bit of a hermit lifestyle. I lived under a rock, didn't really participate in a lot. And hearing about this just drew my attention straight away, and I was there. And when I turned up, what I noticed about being at Parliament was that everybody who turned up was putting their hand up and helping with something. Some people were cleaning toilets, working kitchens, doing security, doing all these things. And I sort of turned up and I was like, oh my God, what can I do to help that doesn't involve dealing with people? Because I'm a little bit of social anxiety going on in my little world. And so I had this idea that I was just going to walk around and talk to my phone, so I didn't have to talk to other people. I just hit that live button, and that sort
Really
of
works.
blew up a little bit more than intended, and that was the beginnings of my platforms and my page. And I certainly got into a lot of situations similar to you. I was up on, like Jason said, I was on the roof of bus stops, and I was filming from the roof of moving vehicles, boosted up second story balconies, all sorts of stuff. It got me in some real situations, but at the end of the day, it was about getting that footage of everything that was going on, because that was the important part in my books and what I was doing. And I really felt the energy of the people that were watching, and that's what motivated me to keep going. I was getting so many messages of support, so many people were watching, and some people were saying, your filming is the reason I've turned up today to Parliament. And it was stuff like that that really kept me going, and still to this day, it is still what keeps me going, is the feedback I get from people at home.
That gives me, honestly, my hair just stood up on end. It gives me goosebumps hearing that. I've had similar experiences with people. Like I have a decent following, but I mean, there's some very loyal people I always see. But the number of people last weekend was 1 year since the arrival of the Freedom Convoy, and we hosted an event here in Ottawa on Parliament Hill, and there must have been 20 people that I have no idea, I've never met them before, that came up to me specifically to say thank you. And I came, I watched you. A few of them had gifts, like really thoughtful stuff. And it's such a strange feeling. I'll never get used to it. When it can be women, men. Sometimes it's like older men, women. They come up and they just say, "I want to meet you," and they're kind of a little apprehensive almost. And it's just such an incredible feeling. But even on the hardest days, one message or one person like that will keep you going for a week.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
I remember Walter said something. Walter Hebert, I think we had him on 2 weeks ago. He had did the same thing, and like people have literally been saved by people's broadcasts. Right, they were already on their way out. They were about to check out themselves, and then they stumble across a broadcast, and they realize that they're not alone. And of course, it also provides a juxtaposition to what's already being broadcasted out there, and they can look at it from a different light. So I think it's really important that people get, we're out there and a variety, because I think we were sort of on a one-way street during that situation in Wellington. We were pretty much on a one-way street. We really had one source of live, but there was actually another lady, Carlene Louise, who was out there, but she wasn't so prolific. But then when Zeb popped up, we had a whole new angle. We had a whole new attitude. And that was really, really welcoming compared to what we were being offered up, kind of what we were stuck with from the beginning. But a whole new attitude, and sort of a bit more my style, I guess, a bit more my people type of live, as opposed to.
Well, that's amazing feedback to hear. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that.
How about you, Rosie? What do you think?
Still ringing in the background. No, I am. I've watched you longer than I watched Dacey, Zeb, but no, it's definitely. I don't know how you guys find the energy to just keep on going. Is it just like the drive that you've got inside? Is it like, does it come from inside, or like, are you guys on some heavy duty vitamins?
For me, it's.
But also
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. I was just going to say, it's the energy of the people. It's people like you who respond to the live streams, sending messages of support, and that you're, messages that you're appreciating seeing what I'm filming. It's messages like that keep me going and give me the energy and the charisma to keep going, to keep doing it. And yeah, that's the only reason, that's the only motivator really, is that support, that want in the background for me to continue what I'm doing. So as long as people are watching and appreciating, I'm going to keep doing it. Yeah.
Great.
For me, I mean, I run on adrenaline. I always have. So, I mean, I've always been someone who does like kind of high intensity, high demand type stuff. I like that. And often I can thrive in those kinds of environments. So some of this has just been perfect for that. Even when I'm exhausted, it's the people too. Like there's so many people that reach out to me with stories. There's so many things going around downtown here, like that. I mean, on a national scale, on a municipal scale, there's a lot of issues. It's kind of a nexus here in Ottawa. So when I'm around and out downtown and there's anything remotely important going on, like I don't really feel tired, hungry, anything. I go all day. Sometimes I don't have a bite to eat or anything to whatever. I just go. When enough things stop, then I stop and I'll sleep or whatever. Just do it again. There's always something. So it keeps me going, no problem. And emotionally, it's those messages, right? Like you hear a lot of hard, we see some hard things and I hear some, good, but also some really hard stories. And when you get the people that are messaging and that there's people listening and that you are able to be actually making a difference in people's lives, I mean, that's it's just an incredible feeling. So that can keep me going any day.
Yeah.
I guess another motivation is also the mainstream media.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stuff that gets shown on the mainstream media is. I remember, during that Parliament protest, what I was doing a lot of the time was actually watching mainstream media every night, and then going out the next day and addressing every point that they brought up during their sort of footage, and it was really interesting. But essentially, mainstream media has given us. They have contributed to the platforms we have today. They have definitely allowed us to have our platforms and grow them. It has been thanks to what they have done.
Mainstream media is an interesting one. I mean, I'm partly keep going, like also out of stubbornness. When there's somebody that tells me not to do something, that just in general is something that kind of sticks with me. Like, okay, well, I'm going to do that then. But when it's something like that's like, don't stand on the sidewalk with the Canadian flag. Like that's a little much for me. So like if someone does that to me, I'm going to stand on that sidewalk with my flag until someone removes me or, similar to that. So a lot of the time, I mean, I dig in because it's just too much. There's a time where you just got to stand and say enough is enough, no matter what people say or do or how many, I have, trolls are after me, but regardless, if I'm telling the truth and standing on truth, I'm going to keep standing there.
Absolutely. I think it's ridiculous. Any country that will deny you the privilege of standing on any corner in your own country, waving your own flag, has got a serious issue. And they need to be gotten rid of. Those people who are in charge of that stuff, even the police, they need to be gotten rid of. There's nothing wrong with being an absolute patriot. And if people are against that in your own country, especially your own powers, they need to be removed, absolutely, because it's not patriotic at all.
Well, and it's only certain types of people, right? So it's a specifically targeted group of individuals in this country, at least. Some flags are allowed and some aren't. Maybe I'll leave it at that. But Canadian flag in Canada is a problem, like for whatever reason, And I'm not saying upside down. If you have a Canadian flag at all on your car, you can expect to be targeted by police in downtown Ottawa.
Yeah, it's like that here in New Zealand as well. Yes.
Yeah.
If you have flags attached to your vehicle, you instantly become a target.
And, that's so surprising when I saw the things in Australia and New Zealand, because I mean, as far as we used to be examples to the world, I thought, our countries, we were supposed to be like the shining examples and the exceptions to the rule, but certainly doesn't seem that way. We were kind of competing for most tyrannical modern or civilized country here.
Yeah, great explanation. Actually, that is, yeah. Canada and New Zealand are now competitive for the top tyrannical Commonwealth
Yes,
country.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who's going to be
man.
the winner? Who's going to get
Yeah,
their Pokemon Go?
exactly. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, gotta get them all. Gotta get them all.
Daisy, do you want to explain Bill C-11 to
I can't talk to it about it in huge detail, but basically it's a censorship bill. It's coming out. They try to use the excuse of they want to protect you from harmful misinformation and disinformation. But essentially, it would regulate Canadian content. How much content is going to have to be on the internet, right? So that means that it forces out certain content. But it's also going to be that the government decides who and what you can say, basically, all the way around. And I mean, these laws are passing through in our country without much talk or anything. We've been passing bills in the middle of the night here at times. Really weird stuff. And this censorship bill, I mean, it's quite a complicated bill, so I don't want to speak to it too much while I'm tired and don't know enough about it right offhand. But it's a very worrisome bill for people like us, because the government will have the say. And I mean, I just came off a 30-day total ban from Facebook for sharing something that I found on mainstream news. Or they dig up stuff from whenever there's something big going on here, they'll dig something up from a year ago, and I'll get 2 years ago you posted a meme out of here.
Yeah.
So
Good.
yeah, I'm having a lot of problems with the censorship end of things. I'm shadow banned like crazy. I get yeah. So it's really concerning. But
And the ironic thing is that I'm coming to you from a socialist country, Vietnam, which was actually the Yanks actually lost the war, and the Chinese supported Northerners won the war, and yet I can stand on the street and I can wave the flag, I can complain about the government, and we have a president here who is vowing to get rid of these corporate criminals that have been trying to get rid of our gas. They've been trying to create gas crises. They've been trying to create COVID-19 crises. Even the second in charge, they're being ousted, and they're going against these WF characters. So this says a lot how everything has flipped. And this is very weird. This is very weird. This is not normal. How a democracy has suddenly become a complete communist state, and a socialist state has become a complete democracy.
An inversion of everything, basically. I mean, and you get that across the board. Like there's inversions of truth and reality and lies. There's inversions of right and wrong. Things that used to be absolutely, unthinkable are now lauded as virtuous. So it's literally an inversion. Everything is the antithesis almost of what it used to be. And to me, I mean, that's for people that know and are seeing this, like that is gaslighting as could be. When somebody is telling you something that I mean, for basically my whole life used to be an outright lie, nobody would ever say, and these things are happening everywhere. It's quite the thing to look at and experience.
We've had a lot of stuff here in New Zealand to do with, for example, we've got curriculum going into schools this year about how to identify conspiracy theorists. The government has put out a big thing about how to identify conspiracy theorists in New Zealand. They are people who are knitting, doing sudoku, they have their own gardens, they have chickens, they homeschool. All these things are, tick boxes for if you're trying to figure out if someone is a conspiracy theorist or not. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. We've got articles in our newspapers at the moment discouraging people from getting their own chickens because we've got an egg shortage here in New Zealand. I'm not going to go into it, but basically there's a lot of egg farms that have been shut down, and it's been coming for years. Everyone knew it was coming, but now they're putting all these articles out to say, hey, don't go and get those chickens you've been thinking about. They're just going to be mistreated because of lack of education in society regarding chickens. But it's just absolute, just craziness. Just
similar stuff goes on here too. They want to discourage anybody from being self-sustainable. Just the way they went after small business, right? Like, I mean, I was a small business owner for most of my life. And I mean, people that have a few employees, those are people that can really make a difference in communities and in the society. And they don't want that. They don't want you to be able to have property and be self-sufficient and help your neighbor. We had a case, you bring up chickens. We just recently were hearing about the milk board in Ontario. So I mean, milk prices, all food prices are through the roof here. But we have boards and quotas. So there's farms that if they overproduce, instead of being able to give that milk to people who can't afford milk or to use it elsewhere, the government forces them to pour it all down the drain. The same thing happens with over yields of potatoes that happened last year in Prince Edward Island. So when people are literally starving, food bank use is through the roof here, more and more people falling below the poverty line, we are literally pouring out perfectly good milk because the government wants to keep the quota and keep the already out of control inflated prices artificially high.
Yeah, there was a video that went viral this last week.
Yeah, it's shocking. Yeah, shocking stuff. But this is normal in Canada.
Tears in my eyes, like that.
This isn't even new. This is stuff that's happened. I mean, there's worse than that happening, but I mean, these are normal type of things in Canada.
Yeah, there was a video that went viral just last week of a farmer. He posted and he just kind of showed that all the cows are happy and he kind of points the camera over and it's just like the milk is just pouring over onto the dirty concrete. And what did he have to dump? Like 30,000 liters or something?
Yeah, it was a lot, and it was just one. That's one farmer, one farm. You know, I'm sure this is happening at scale across farms. Like it's not an isolated incident at all.
Oh my God! Sorry, excuse me.
And the hubris of these people talking about sustainability and economical,
Yes,
and environmentally friendly, you know, none of it is related to what to,
yeah.
you know, there's no relation to what they're trying to espouse and to what they're actually doing, supposedly saving the environment and saving humanity. It's exactly the opposite. It's designed to basically just mass cull off the intelligent brained people. That's basically what's going on here, because I see this all the time. Like here, we have ducks, chickens, geese. The two geese have gone missing, by the way, since the Lunar New Year holiday. But I had two geese attacking me frequently every time I rode past it. You know, there was a pig that would pop out onto the street, nice little multicolored pig, pop out in the street, and chickens and all that kind of stuff. And they are here and they're wandering around. And I see people with actually, remember the old milkmaid, the milkmaid of steel containers of milk. Remember that?
Oh, I know.
I see people riding around with those. You know.
Yeah.
We have, and this is like stuff that we grew up with. You know, maybe not seeing geese on the street that attack you all the time, but this is the kind of stuff that we like literally grew up with and got used to. And here it's still a very common occurrence. That's why I sort of call myself a time traveler. Not that I travel for a time, but whenever I see another rule go into place in the Commonwealth, I go farthest away from that rule. You know, so I hang out in a place where there is no oversight. I don't want any more oversight, but there's enough oversight. You know, there's enough oversight, and it contributes to the inflation, the cost of living, and all that. And now the tax rate is like 20%. It's like, huh? Are you serious? Are you serious? Do you actually want to live in a society like that? No. No thanks. Not me. I'm gonna go hang out with the geese. You know. I'm quite happy.
The Canadian geese are kind of wild. The Canadian geese attack everybody, man. They will get you.
I think they've gone missing because it was the lunar holiday and now they've gone missing. So I think they were
okay.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Just don't tell the pig, okay?
Okay, yeah. Your secret's safe with me.
Not like you said it on a live stream or anything.
No, I haven't said anything. Don't worry, they're not listening. Trust me.
No, they went below. Yeah. So you guys you've been doing it basically since Convoys.
Yeah. For me, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I've always been interested in doing this kind of stuff. Like I've watched YouTube forever. Like YouTube was godsend for me. I've learned so much, and I'm kind of scatterbrained ADHD type, right? So I used to just go deep diving into that instead of looking into whatever, so watching TV. I would learn at night when I go to sleep. I just listen to YouTube. So I've been kind of like interested in this kind of stuff. I've always taken pictures my whole life. So this just seemed like something that was came naturally. Like it's a steep learning curve, and I'm still learning, but I mean, I love what I'm doing, and I plan to keep doing it. I'd like to kind of hone in and be more, like a little more specific in some things. And no matter what I do, I'm going to stay involved politically and probably with content creation, I think. can't see that changing.
I'm similar. I'm definitely enjoying the being in content creation now. I'm absolutely loving it. My experience was a little bit different to yours, whereas I had zero experience whatsoever going into it. I just sort of jumped into the deep end. But a good thing about that is I don't have a big history of sort of rabbit hole memes or anything on my Facebook account, so I've actually never been shut down. I've never been restricted. I don't have any warnings on any of my accounts because they just don't have anything to dig up about me, which
That's
has been
helpful.
great.
That's helpful. So I have run into a problem where some trolls and things, I mean, they dug deep into my past, and I've been attacked for a whole lot of things, and we all have past. I mean, I've changed. I'm a completely different man than I was 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and I'm still on a path, hopefully towards better. So, but I mean, I know what's. But it's a great thing that you have. First of all, that you can stay without the strikes and all that, because that means you can really use your channel and have a good reach. I mean, yeah, that's all better. I kind of had the opposite experience when it comes to people looking through my backstory, but I just kind of I am who I am. I'm not hiding from any of it. I've always been kind of an open book, so I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. The more I get attacked, it's kind of an indicator to me that I'm on the right path. Because every time I find something that's more meaningful, more important, and find a bigger audience, I find more attackers. So.
Yeah, I'm lucky in that sense. I don't get a hell of a lot of trolls or anything like that. I think, although I am pretty friendly with the block button. I'm pretty friendly.
Yeah, okay. I was trying to be the opposite with it. I tried to use it very sparingly, but I mean, there's some things when they come across are even too much for me. I like to have the people in there, and whatever side they're on, the conversation, if possible. But some people come out and it's clear that their intention is not to communicate with you. They don't want to talk. They're not looking to find common ground. They're looking to bring negative emotion and chaos and trigger people. And I'm not down for that.
Right.
So.
I mean, constructive conversation, all well and good, not a problem whatsoever. But if we're going to start picking at the way someone looks or their personality traits that have nothing to do with anything, then that's just personal and nasty. We don't deal with that.
Yeah, it's a good way to be. Yeah.
Oh, you're muted, Jason.
It took me 3 days to decide if I was going to moderate a comment that just said vote Labour. And I couldn't figure out if it was the guy was serious or the guy was making a joke or something like that. So I had to go back and find out who invited the person to the group. And then I found out it was a friend of mine. And then I had to go back and look at it, and it was a joke. So I decided to finally approve it. Just to get the response from the people who actually saw it, But that's how funny this stuff is. I'm very prolific with the older, especially with our group. We have about 20. We had over 25K. Now we have about 24,500 people in the group, and I think I'm probably the person who loves hitting that button the most, especially if you've got a really bad comment and you just want to basically call it shit stirring. If you're a shit stirrer and there's nothing logical coming out of your mouth, you are banned, buddy. End of story. If you got nothing to do with the fight for what people are trying to achieve here, then you're out of here. End of story. I have a zero tolerance policy. Completely zero tolerance policy. And that's how I think that's probably why we've continued on, because you get the two groups starting to oppose one another and getting into a useless argument. It's completely useless because one is just a troll, the others are serious, and it's a complete waste of energy. So I just threw all that waste of energy in.
Yeah, it's gross. The energy is gross.
Just focus on the right way. Yeah.
Yeah, I was so busy like when I started doing lives that I didn't have moderation. I wasn't looking at the comments. Like a lot of it was like I found myself in the middle of a riot, or not a riot, but I mean a police riot squad. Or whatever, and like I was live for 4 or 5 hours, and like suddenly my some of those times my following exploded, and like I would look through after, and the stuff was absolute insanity in there, and like I didn't even add moderators to any of my stuff till way later. I still have barely any. More so just because I got in before I was prepared. I mean, then I kind of got used to it, but I mean, going forward with certain things, when I start doing longer form conversations and stuff like that, I mean, that's a different story. That I can start to moderate, but. I'm gonna have to get a little better, get a little better set up, I guess. Now that I'm gonna be doing more of this stuff.
I used to have moderators when I was at Parliament. I had moderators on all my live streams, but since Parliament, I haven't had any moderation whatsoever, and that's been good. It's been fine.
It's working, yeah.
Yeah, but actually,
think-
when I was at Parliament, I relied a lot on the people in the comments section because they were the ones who were actually watching other live streamers at the same time. And if something was going down, people would comment in my comment section, say, get over there, go, go, go. And that was really, really helpful, although there were a ton of false alarms.
Yeah,
from
I
maybe
know what
trolls
that's
in the
like.
comment section. But yeah,
Yeah.
but that was really
So
helpful.
I get a lot of help like that too. If it wasn't for, because I don't have time to watch as much as I would normally like to do all the research I normally could, or even to keep track of even just local events completely. So, but I have a great group of people that support me, that send me the info I need, and I've made really great personal connections. So if there's something going on, normally I get a heads up and I'm able to get over there in time, or if something's going on anywhere near around me, people come running, screaming my name, calling me or whatever. And normally I'm probably normally in the middle of it, but if I'm not, I can get over there pretty quick.
Yeah.
It really is amazing, Dacey. Like you always end up being at the exact right place at the exact right time.
Yeah, I've had a lot of that. It's I kind of like, I used to think I was lucky, like how did I end up in these places? But I have been inserting myself in places that I don't really belong or didn't feel like, I just go. Whenever it feels like something is happening, man, I just put myself right in the middle. When there's big, huge things and people are going to be speaking, I'd be in the front right there trying to talk to them, So it was really uncomfortable for me, honestly, at first. Even now, I still find it weird interviewing people or talking to people, like getting up in people's faces, and especially when there's something serious going on. Like, people give me a lot of crap about being pretty loud and a little obnoxious at times and stuff, but I really do try to be respectful and care about these people that I'm filming and what they're going through. And it's still a weird thing that I'm still kind of finding the feel, finding my way through.
Mm-hmm.
It's investigative journalism. That's what you're doing. You're doing investigative journalism, and that's what the mainstream media should be doing, but isn't. All we're doing, all we're getting from mainstream media from the West is just absolute tripe and propaganda. I've looked at it. I mean, a lot of people know that I don't watch any television, even though I went to film school and film and television school, and graduated as a television director, and even worked on community TV. But I won't watch it. I won't watch it. It's complete tripe. You guys are doing what the mainstream media is supposed to be doing. Actually, looking at the critical questions, asking the critical questions, and then giving people the option to whether or not they believe the answer or not, and then providing another point of view as well. On top of that, looking at both sides of it, then looking between two flags, between two opinions. That's what it's all about. But it just doesn't happen anymore in mainstream media. It's gone. That zing has gone. So it is uncomfortable getting up there in front of people and asking those hard questions. But if you don't do it, who's going to do it? No one's going to do it. It's just going to be a rinse and repeat cycle of propaganda. So the alternative media is really taking the space back. Absolutely.
I don't know if you felt things changing a little bit. I noticed since I was banned for 30 days, like over Christmas and into the new year. So I got a time to watch a lot more stuff, and there's a lot more information, like stuff that I know for sure I would have been banned for posting a month or two ago is up online now, and not just on Twitter or whatever. It's, I mean, on other platforms. So seems like there's at least some shift or opening. And I mean, I think that's probably just the beginning of a floodgate opening. If Twitter is going to allow certain things, I don't see how other social medias can not follow suit pretty quickly, or everyone will navigate away from them.
We actually had one of our live streamers here in New Zealand, one of our alternative media people here in New Zealand, actually put in an official information request to the government regarding their input into what Facebook and social media places have been doing in shutting us down. And she actually exposed a definite link between what Facebook was doing and the government's involvement. She uncovered emails between Meta and our government, all sorts of things, which was really interesting. So yeah, shocking, interesting, but it's definitely happening.
Yeah, and the fact that now it's being exposed, that these are all wins for us. And I mean, nothing changes overnight, right? But the fact that we're seeing
Right.
this swing, I've even noticed it in some of the mainstream media is obviously still very, very big problem. But even their approach to some things, they're starting to be a little more open, or not so much only one sided. And I guess that's because they don't have a choice now. They wouldn't be doing that unless there was absolutely no other option for them. They're kind of in their death grips with no funding, completely tanked viewership. So they need to try to get the viewers from the other side that they've alienated. If they want to survive at all, they're going to have to try to bring those people back into the fold.
Yeah.
I don't think it won't work. It won't work. No, it won't work. But they're going to try probably.
Yeah, the woke dictatorship has completely tanked. Even in good old Hollywood, CNN, all that kind of stuff. There are people like Joe Rogan who are completely just burning them and crushing them.
Yeah.
So it's not going anywhere. I mean, they got some steam for about 3 years. And they had the Summer of Love and all that in the US with the anti-farts and the BLMers and all that kind of stuff. And they went really crazy woke about the Trumpers and all that kind of stuff. But they had a really good crack at it. But most of us just generally, basic, hardworking people, I just can't be bothered with that type of personality. And it's so divisive. It's so divisive. These people are very divisive. And it turns out that the rest of the world is starting to realize that this is not what we want to watch on TV or on media or anything, because it's just it has no value. It has absolutely no value to our family. It has no value to all the things that we do in our life. There is absolutely no added value to this kind of divisive screaming at the top of your lungs about different things. It's just very calm people who have a brain. Getting their stuff back.
And I think it also has an element of, it's a relationship. Our relationship with mainstream media is a relationship. And just like any other relationship, when trust is lost, It's really difficult to get that trust back in mainstream media, if it's possible at all. So, the fact that they've done what they've done, they've lost of the people. Whether the people eventually go back to mainstream media, that's yet to be determined, but it's going to be a long, rocky road if they want to get the trust of the people back.
That's a really good point, actually. And it not only is a lack of trust, it's a betrayal. Like, there's so many different feelings mixed in with that. And I don't see how you could just go back to that. I mean, even if they were replaced with something else, like, if you want to make amends with someone, you have to be sorry. You have to show that you are going to take steps to change. There's a whole lot of things that come before you can really accept an apology or know that someone is going to change. And I can't see media doing that. In a similar vein, I have a lot of problems with the police here. Like, the police in Ottawa have hurt and abused all kinds of people that I mean, I've witnessed personally, heard stories about, and that trust was severely broken for me. I was never an anti-police kind of person. I know people in law enforcement. I know people in the military, and I was always kind of respected law enforcement as a rule. And that really tore me into two pieces here, because there's a time where if I saw an Ottawa police cruiser, I was like livid. I was looking over my shoulders. I was seeing them every time one would go by. I would notice it, and I had a real problem for a long time. And it's only recently that I've been able to put that emotional and that triggering aspect aside and start relating to the police again, one-on-one. And maybe that's partly because I've been dealing directly with police more often here, like with liaisons and things. But it's only recently that I've been able to move past that emotional and triggering feeling when I was around them. It took a long time.
And even now, I mean, so I found myself in a couple of situations when normally I would have called the police straight away. I don't know about you guys, but now it's sort of a bit of a second guess before I make that phone call. And to be honest, it's a trust thing again.
That's hard.
Do I feel safe with them around? Not as much as I used to, no. And it's just a matter of some things you can't unsay. And those images will be forever burned in my head. And I don't have the same respect and the same trust that I had for the police force prior to all of this going down. And I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, I heard that a lot. Were you in Wellington that day? On the last day there, Zeb?
The militarization of
Yes,
police,
yes,
I
I
think you're
absolutely
talking about.
was. Yeah, I was definitely there that last day. That was the day where I was filming on top of moving vehicles, and I got boosted up to a second story so that I could film downwards on what everything was happening. Nobody cared what I was doing because I wasn't, in the fight, but I was there doing my thing. Yeah, it was intense. It was full on. And I think the one thing that really stuck with me, that really moved me beyond tears, was actually, I mean, I don't know how familiar you guys are with the Māori culture here in New Zealand, but at things like tangihana, Māori funerals, you hear this very strong and very loud and very spiritual wail from the elders, a cry, a wail. And hearing that wail from our elders at Parliament, oh, holy shit. That was the most heartbreaking thing for me. Yeah.
I can feel the emotion, right? Yeah, I can feel the emotion just like right through the screen,
I'm
just hearing that.
struggling to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, shit.
Can I ask a question just on Waitangi? Because a lot of people in Canada have their own sort of Indigenous people, and they have their own stories, and they have their own the treaties and so on. But what do you think about what's going on in Waitangi at the moment? Like, let's just look at what happened the other day. I know you weren't there, and I wasn't there either. But there was people.
I'm
the
not
news was
actually
streaming it.
aware.
People were streaming it.
I'm not actually aware of what went down. I'm sorry, I haven't seen anything. I don't know. Yeah, if something's happened, yeah, that's news to me. I'm not surprised, but I can't really comment on it. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's right. I'll try and find somebody else, because I saw there was an elder. I would call her an elder, not so super old, but she was an elder, and she stood up and she was trying to address the MPs.
You're talking about Donna.
About why. Okay, yeah. Is that her name? Yeah.
Okay,
she was wearing a green
Donna,
shirt.
so
she was wearing a green shirt, and she was trying to address
I know
them,
who you're talking
and she was trying to
about.
be shut down. Yeah.
I can give you a bit of background on that. So Donna is part of a political party. She's part of the Freedom and Outdoors Party with Sue Gray. And Donna, she's very vocal. She's very supportive of the movement. She's a very intelligent woman. She's onto it. And from what I saw in the video, and I will be happily corrected on this, but from what I saw, she attended a public talk for a political. There were, I guess, MPs or a political party there, the Greens, I believe. It was a formal public thing with the Greens where you could publicly ask questions, and she wanted to know why none of them came down from Parliament and met with the people and spoke with the people. And it was a very important question, a very good question, but yes, it wasn't received so well at all, was it?
No. Well, the lady who was holding the microphone kept telling her this is not the place to have this kind of corridor. And she said this is absolutely a place to have this corridor, because this is an open forum.
That's exactly it. It was exactly the place to have that corridor. There's no better situation to have that corridor. She chose the right moment, the right situation, the right event. It was an open Q&A for the public. The public want to know.
I totally.
So
what happened to her?
She was shut down very quickly. Yeah,
she was just shut down.
Protested, and she was very firm in what she was saying when they were telling her that this wasn't the forum to be asking these sorts of questions. She was very confident in her response, saying, "No, this is exactly the forum to be asking this exact question." And they just shut her down.
So it shut down so many people, it seems, and when you do the right thing, like it's like being in front of, Parliament Hill here and Wellington, that's our public square. If you have a problem and the government doesn't listen, you're supposed to go to the public square and peacefully and lawfully say what you have to say. And I mean, after a long time of not being listened to, people peacefully went there and still are. You stand there with your flag because you have something to say. We're not attacking, accosting people. We're not doing anything like that. just making a point. And we have police now trying to say that that's wrong. No, this is not the place to come and voice your concerns. You know, Trudeau at the public emergency inquiry here, he said that he's very concerned about people using protest to try and affect political change. I mean, that's what protest is for. And the public square is where you protest. Yeah, exactly. It's absolutely wild.
Yeah. No, just.
What has happened? What has happened over since the 60s is that there is a thing called the militarization of police. Whereas if you go back to very early 60s, 70s, it would be almost unheard of that the army would be responsible for doing a policeman's job. But when they pulled out of Afghanistan, not the second time, the first time, when they pulled out of after 9/11, when they pulled out of the Middle East, all of those weapons went back into a government program, specifically in the USA. All those weapons went back into a program that was redistributed to the police force, and so was the training, because basically they had nothing to do. The military had nothing to do, so they went ahead and started militarizing the police instead. And the tactics that we are seeing are military tactics, and that has spilled over into the rest of the Commonwealth. It hasn't gone into. You would generally suspect these sorts of things, and like, let's say, under Pol Pot in Cambodia, the Khmer Rouge, or something like that. You'd expect this kind of carry on in that, and but even in Southeast Asia and places like Thailand and Vietnam and Cambodia now, the policemen are just basically mule eaters. They don't get involved in domestic disputes. They patrol what crime there is, which is very little. But a lot of the gangsters that do commit crime basically do it in their own backyard, and they don't really hassle the general public anymore. And it's mostly against the corrupt politicians anyway. They're sort of going at it at that angle. So, but whereas the Western police have completely militarized themselves out of sheer lack of nothing to do, and wanting to control the response of people.
We definitely have a militarized police force, multiple jurisdictions of militarized police in Ottawa. The Ottawa police have an armored personnel carrier, Bearcat, at least one. It's often parked just outside the police station in downtown Ottawa. And I mean, I've seen that thing deployed multiple times. I've had people in the weapons nest of that thing with their rifles trained on me. You know, like it's a serious thing. And, you know, I've seen it with two columns of horses ride in behind it in downtown Ottawa, you know, like, and this is Ottawa. And these things are not uncommon. They were a picture you would see in the States before, not here, but it's here now. And they deploy this thing to intimidate people. They bring in, there was Ontario Provincial Police. So we have a city police force in Ottawa. Then we also have the RCMP who do federal police. But we had police from out of jurisdiction last weekend. We had about 40 or 50 OPP vehicles and their riot police lined up in the streets waiting for something to happen. So if you wanted to get downtown, you have to walk by a whole block of riot police in vehicles. So they use this kind of stuff all the time. These guys are standing openly with carbine rifles, ARs, in the streets of Ottawa in militarized fatigues. And this is up a week ago.
During Rolling Thunder.
What?
Yeah, last weekend.
You were talking a year ago. A week ago.
Yeah. They had the riot police, a whole block of them. Like they deployed only once. They came out and then withdrew. But they were there to scare people. That's the only reason they would be there.
Were there snipers on the roof again, like at Rolling Thunder?
There's always at least observers on the roofs around here. Normally, they're not too visible. I didn't notice any specifically, but there would have been for sure. There always is whenever there's an event, but not only then. I think all the time.
I think so that was the strangest experiences for me. Was like when I actually got here in April. And it was the Rolling Thunder weekend, and they had brought in so many extra police. And I was part of the crowd, but then I there was this little kid with his mom, and he was pointing up, and I looked up to see what he was pointing at, and there were police up on the roof, which for a child to point that out was a little bit, just it seemed very, very,
Yeah,
very wrong at that moment.
it's really odd when you see them. So I've seen the Ottawa police vehicles that pull up like near the National War Memorial. There's some buildings on the corner there, and I've seen the guys pull in an SUV and they get out with their rifle cases and whatnot, and they just walk into the building like it's nothing. And big rifle cases, and up, they're just going up to for Overwatch or whatever they call it. They're up on the roof like it's nothing, But it's yeah. If you were to think about that, I mean, those guys are there all the time probably. On major events like those spotters are watching everyone. That's wild.
Wow.
Rosie, sorry to drop. I'm going to have to get going here really shortly. I've got a meeting with the guys there for our event tomorrow.
I'm really, really glad that you came on, Dacey. I really,
and happy I was able to join you.
Yeah,
It
don't
was really
stop.
cool to meet you, Dacey, and it's been really cool to hear what you've been doing on the other side of the world, and to sort of like compare our stories, sort of thing. It's been really cool to chat.
Yeah, it was very interesting, and Rosie, I'd love to come on again anytime, and I'll definitely start following you and try to check out some of what you're doing over there. It's amazing. Love to talk to you again sometime.
Sounds good.
Okay, so I'm going to duck out, Rosie. Thanks so much, and hopefully we can talk to y'all again.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Tomorrow. Sorry, you got stuff to do, but yeah, thanks again,
Yeah.
Dacey, for coming on.
Yeah, I'll stay for the whole thing next time too. Promise.
All right.
Okay. All right. Love you guys. Dacey out.
Bye.
Well, I don't know.
He was really cool. I really enjoyed meeting him. He's lovely. He's obviously got his hands full with a lot going down over there. Oh my God.
Yeah, he's doing it every single day, and he's just like he's a force to be reckoned with. And you just basically you point him in a direction, he will go and he will find out what's happening, and he takes a beating. But you know what? He'll tell a cop like, "Hey, don't push me," Whereas like if a cop pushed me, he'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry," But he's like, "Hey, don't push me," he's I don't know, he's just driven. And there's nothing you can say.
I don't know about you guys watching at home, but I'm definitely going to be looking up Dacey Media afterwards and checking out exactly what he gets up to. It sounds really interesting.
He's on all the platforms and everything. He's on TikTok and he posts like he's everywhere. Instagram, just like I don't know where he must have like an extra 4 hours of time in a day. I don't know how he gets it all done, but he does. He gets it done. But I swear he's got some kind of like the Harry Potter time turner or something. Just like no, absolutely. He's become a good friend. He's a good ally to have because in the thick of things, he's gonna have your back. He's gonna be standing right behind you. If not, using himself as a shield for you. Which is actually more his style, because he'll be right in front, and you can kind of just.
Yeah. Well, hey, Rosie, just before we wrap up real quick, I just wanted to take this opportunity just to mention what I'm working on at the moment, which is really exciting. You ready for this?
Yes.
We have organised, a team and I have been so busy over the last few months. We have been busy putting together a 1-year commemoration event called 2nd of March Commemoration. And this is, our 1 year since everything went down at Parliament. And we've basically organised 5 days of camping, healing, workshops, stalls, knowledge hubs. We've secured this land, which is just amazing, suitable for thousands. And oh my gosh, it's just all coming together so fabulously. So I just wanted to put it out there. If you guys watching at home are here in New Zealand, please get onto Facebook and join the page. It's called March 2nd Commemoration. You can find it on my page, Zeb Jackson Live, if you're already there. Otherwise, it does have its own page. There is a website, march2nd.co. Sorry, had to think about that one. But it is so exciting. We're only 2 or 3 weeks out now, and there's just so much going on. And I just really wanted to share those at home. If you want to get away, come camp with us for a few days. We'd love to see you all.
And it's family friendly too. I saw on the poster 100%.
Absolutely. Family friendly. We've got this huge tamariki zone that's all laid out. We've got a few special treats lined up for the kids. There's a river nearby. There's glowworm caves to explore. Bush. It's just, I think it's exactly what we need, and it will create the most beautiful atmosphere, I believe. Yeah.
And I understand there's a convoy headed to it too. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep, so we have organised, we've called it Veins of the Nation. So it's basically the veins coming together in towards this convoy, heading down towards Dannevirke, which is in the mid to lower half of the North Island of New Zealand. So it's quite central for those in the North Island who want to go. There's also a South Island gathering that's being organised a little bit later in March. It's being organised by Farmer James. So some of those New Zealand watchers out there might know the name Farmer James. If you do know, get on his page, and yeah, he's got a poster up and stuff for those South Island whānau to get together for a few days as well.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Here's a little piece of trivia. I don't know if you realize, but our parliament is on Wellington.
Wait, sorry, what?
The name of the street that our parliament building is on is called Wellington.
Really? Well, isn't that ironic? That is very cool. Oh, there's links everywhere, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
But hey, on that note, I do have to get going myself as well. But I've really enjoyed being here. I've definitely enjoyed chatting with you, Rosie. I mean, I feel like we've got a little bit of a history going on, and I think we've chatted a few times before, but this has been amazing. So thank you so much for having me on your show. Yeah, I appreciate it.
And you're obviously going to be going live and everything. I've seen a couple of people here. Timber Traveler, he said he's subbed to you now. So if you want to follow, Zeb Jackson Live is her channel. It's on Facebook and YouTube, right?
Facebook, YouTube, Telegram, TikTok, Patreon, and Twitter.
Yes. So I'm hoping that you go live quite often because I'll be watching it. Because I don't know.
I'll definitely be live at the commemoration event for sure.
There's the gentleman who runs the Good Memories of Freedom Village.
Oh yes.
Yeah, Jeff. He's Jeff Hader, Haeyder.
Oh, yes, I know the name. I'm not sure if I've met him in person. I might have, but
yep. He didn't pop into the chat here. He usually pops into the chat. We chat all the time. So apparently he's going to be driving one of the lead vehicles for one of the convoys headed in. So I'm very excited for him. Yeah, he's very excited to be doing that. So I kind of want to bring him on the show at one point when maybe next week. Get closer.
I won't be taking part in any of the convoys because I'll be on site about a week beforehand. But I would be very interested in seeing any filming of the convoy coming through. I'll be watching out for those so I can share them.
Absolutely. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you. Apparently Jason's computer, they had a power outage, so his computer died.
Oh no! Oh well, we were hitting down the end of it anyway. It's all good. It's fine.
Didn't miss him one. No, I'm just kidding. Good. But yeah, I'm just being mean now, huh? But he knows I don't mean it.
Absolutely. Don't ever change, babe. Don't ever change. All right. Well, you enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm sure it's getting a little bit late there. But yeah, again, it was really nice to chat to you. I'm going to get going, but I'm sure we'll speak again sometime soon. Absolutely. Thank you, whānau, for watching at home. Yeah. Appreciate you guys.
You can count on it.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Bye, Zen. All right. So I'll just go over some of these comments here. Thanks, everybody, for still being here. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, and like the video. If you want to comment underneath in the comment section, it kind of helps the YouTube algorithm. So Canada RV, you kind of definitely rock the chat group here. So I definitely have to give you a shout out, and of course thank my moderator, Dickard with Dave. I'm really grateful that he was here, and there was only one incident, but I was happy. I actually was able to deal with that person on my own. But anyway, I guess this show is a little bit shorter, but hey, you know what? It just goes to show you never know what you'll expect on here. It could be a 2-hour show, it could be 3 hours, or in this case, an hour and 15 minutes. So I am going to wrap things up. Thank you guys so much for joining me and for joining our guests. I hope you learned some new things and got a little bit of inspiration. I really, really enjoy what I do, and I thank you guys so much for being here. So anyways, Rosie Convoy, I love you guys so much. I appreciate you. So I hope you have the most wonderful week, and I guess the weekend coming up after. So anyway, all the best to you guys and to your families. Take care, you guys. Love you.